No, I have allowed it. Okay, I think I'm all set to go.
Yay. We'll just give people a little bit of time to come in. They'll take about 5 minutes or so to come through.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to start at 7:05.
Okay, perfect.
Because we've got a lot to get through.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Alta, you won't have to worry about letting people in or monitoring the chat or anything like that. I'll worry about that. Okay. Just make it a bit easier for you to focus.
Good. How are we doing for time? Do you think we should wait more or do you think we can get started?
It is 3 minutes past, so let's give it 2 more minutes.
Okay.
And then I will start so that you can fit everything in. All right, let's start. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to week 3 of the E-Preneur program. We are very fortunate this evening to have with us Elta Cater, and she is a wonderful woman and business member, and she is from Marketing Results, and she is going to help us this evening understand a little bit more about digital marketing. So the program will run the same as always. Elta will do her presentation and her discussion, and then we'll open it up for questions at the end. So welcome, and thank you, Elta, for your time.
No, it's a pleasure. Well, thank you for having me. I just want to start off quickly by saying I think we're all based in KZN. I've checked this load shedding scheduled for Pietermaritzburg starting at 8 tonight. So I'm not sure if everyone's fortunate enough to have generators and inverters. So I'm going to try and finish by 8.
Perfect.
If we can continue load shedding permitting, then we can. Otherwise, here's my details. So you guys are more than welcome to either email me or WhatsApp me, or we can meet for a coffee and you can pick my brain. Then if I can ask, leave all your questions to the end. I might answer them during the presentation. And then just by a show of hands, or you can show it in the chat if you're not enabling your video, who currently has social media? If you can just go like, yes. Okay. And then the other thing that I'm quite interested in is, do you have anyone doing it for yourselves, or are you doing it? If you can just put up your hands again, or just show a hand in the chat box. I just want to gauge where we're at. Okay, fantastic. There's a few more we need to admit. Okay, so let's get started. So, yep, I'm Elta. I'm the Chief Disruption Officer for Marketing Results. I just want to make it clear, I don't think, or I don't consider myself an expert on digital marketing. Whenever anyone says they are an expert, I'm quite skeptic because the landscape changes a lot. So for me, unless you're Mark Zuckerberg, then you're an expert because you know what's part of the pipeline and what you've got cracking. The rest of us, we need to stay abreast with what's happening. I was fortunate enough to, when digital marketing broke, I lived in London. I was studying to become a chartered marketer. So my foundation for digital marketing was laid by thought leaders, still thought leaders at this time. So yeah, my foundation is strong, but it's up to me every day to keep my knowledge and skill set up to date. So right, guys, just want to, what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop my video and share my screen with you. I think the first thing we need to do, hang on a sec. Let's start. Yeah, let's see if that's, yeah. So for me, the starting point is, what do you want to get out of your social media? What do you want to get out of your digital media? And to be able to figure that out, you need to be realistic about what the return on investment for social media is. So how do you measure your results? And the four main measurements for return on investment for social media, digital media, is brand reach. Secondly, engagement on the content you put out. A 0.5 to 1% is the Facebook benchmark. Then lead generation, and fourthly, conversions. And conversions could be, have you put your website address in there so you can track site visits, how many reviews did you get, did you put content up that you wanted people to download from another platform? Maybe you posted it on your website. So how many downloads did you get? And then again, leads. So then moving on, let's start. So the big thing is don't start unless you have time to maintain it. And this is critically important for the economic environment that we live in, especially for those of us who operate from KZN. If someone visits any of your digital profiles and they haven't seen that you've posted in a while, they might think that your business has gone under. In KZN, we've had the riots. So that's really, really important. Don't start unless you can maintain it. The second reason it's really important is for search engine optimization. So Google's algorithm is constantly trolling the web. And if it sees that you haven't posted any content in a while, it's almost like you get a bad tick next to your name, and it doesn't organically push you up into news feeds, into searches. So yeah. Don't start unless you can maintain it. Consistency is key, key, key. Use your social media. So having a Facebook profile or a Twitter account, it's just not, it's not enough. You know, you need to maintain your accounts and make them work for you. Then secondly, you've got to set your profiles up properly. Now, for me, the best way to explain it is, if you've ever applied for something, whether it's completed like a tender document or applied for a passport, every single question they ask you on that application form is critically important. And sometimes you don't get the tender or your passport doesn't get processed because you didn't fill in or you didn't tick that one box. And it's exactly the same with your digital media profiles. So make sure you answer every single thing they've asked you when you set it up. Again, this is really important for search engine optimization as well, because the algorithms troll the internet. And say, for instance, you've put your operating hours on the one, yet not on the other one, then there's inconsistency. So it's like a bad tick next to your name. And again, it's bad for organic placement within news feeds or within searches. Then thirdly, digital media is not a one size fits all. Don't go and start a Facebook account and an Instagram account and LinkedIn, and you've got to Google My Business profile. You've got to look at your business and your target audience and what it is that you want to achieve, and then set up your profiles accordingly. And then fourthly, you've got to have a plan. It's so important to have a plan. And I'm not talking about having an elaborate plan. If you want to see results, having a clear strategy that will help you set goals, which can be analyzed further down the road. It's so important. And it's important to follow the 80-20 rule. So when you put this plan together, most of the digital platforms, because there's so much of a focus on value-added content and engagement on content, it says that 80% of the content should be relevant to your target audience, while 20% should be specifically about your business, so your product or your service. And I want to show you an example of a plan, just to show you that, you know, I'm not talking about hire a consultancy or do a 3-day strat session with these amazing PowerPoint presentations, and then you've got to write a vision and a mission. One of our clients is a health and beauty spa, and they don't have a massive budget. They're only focused on growing their business locally. So this is literally, we sat where they do the nails, and this is our plan for the year. We looked at dates in the healthcare and wellness calendar, jotted them down, and then started building from that. But just, this is how simple a plan can be. Then moving on, content. So content is super important. And for me, the most important when it comes to content is you need to tell a story. And I love this quote where they say, people don't share information, they tell stories. Stories are vessels that carry things such as morals and lessons. Information travels under the guise of what seems like idle chatter. Embed your products and services in stories that people want to tell. Make your message so integral to the narrative that people can't tell the story without you. It's about creating a journey for someone to fall in love with your product or service, which is worth sharing with their loved ones. So now the stories that we're telling. You need to engage your audience. And it's very crucial, especially with how all the algorithms around digital media is changing. It's all about engagement. You need to engage your users. You must have something to say or share, and you must present yourself as an expert in your field. Make sure your posts are interesting and you keep your message consistent with your brand's identity. Like people, brands are living entities that are personalities and relationships that have real meaning in people's lives. So before your company heads to digital media, it's crucial to develop and understand your brand identity and the voice you want to use across your digital media platforms. Nobody knows your product or service or your company better than you. So give it some thought, before you go live. And again, the previous slide, I showed you how basic it could be. It doesn't have to be this elaborate marketing plan. Jot something down just so you've got a focus. You think about what is your identity and what is the voice you want to have on your digital profile. Then I love attending the DSTV Seminar of Creativity every year. They bring all these thought leaders from across the world here to our doorstep. But it's been very interesting over the past couple of years. The message has consistently been that people are bombarded by advertising. Apparently, we receive about 360 ads per day. And we've just within ourselves created like this gatekeeping system where we decide yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, very, very quickly. They say that our attention span as humans is now shorter than a goldfish, which is 8.25 seconds. And what they've said to us over the past couple of years is you've got to start with the punchline and then tell the rest of the story. So bear that in mind, when you're trying to engage your audience. Then be active, but don't spam. And just don't overdo it. Reason for this is you could annoy people and lose followers that you've worked really hard to gain, or spent a lot of money on, advertising campaigns to get them to follow your brand. Or secondly, if you overdo it and you might just get lost in their newsfeed, and you've spent all this time to curate all this content, and then they just won't see it. And that's something you just don't want. Then maintain voice, one voice. It comes back to the planning where you kind of jot down a few adjectives. I always say to clients, think about 5 adjectives that you think represents your product or your service or your company and your values that you want to stand for, and make sure that that's the voice that you stick to on your digital platforms. Then have a personality, be original, and that's going to make you stand out from your competition. Like, to give you an example, we've got this one client, they've been in business for 40 years. It was started by the dad. So we're having a lot of fun with Throwback Thursdays. And we delve back into the heritage of the brand and how the dad has built it. But they're also going through a period of succession planning where the daughter and the son is now going to take over the company. So we're going to introduce a campaign of Where is Wally, where the Throwback Thursdays posts of either where's the dad and the daughter now, or where is the dad and the son now. So yeah, have a personality and be original. Then you've got to make your content stand out. How do you do that? So these are tools that you can use to make your content stand out. One is you can crowdsource feedback. So ask them a question, ask your followers to make a choice, solicit content, pose a quiz, or do a poll. You could share relevant images, engage with other brands. That's what you can do as part of your scheduling process by tagging them. You can include a call to action in your posts. For example, if you want phone calls, or if you want to get messages, or if you want, people to find your business, or you can share industry news or hot topics. You can adjust the frequency of when you post. That's what you do as part of your scheduling process. Respond to everyone. That's another tool. You do that as part of your monitoring process. You can share photos or a video, like for example, go behind the scenes or upload a video. You can make an emotional contact with your followers. You can provide valuable educational content. For example, share something that's curated by another thought leader or industry expert. Then tap into trending topics. You can recycle high volume posts. You can do that as part of your scheduling process as well. You can celebrate all holidays, or you can use audience targeting for organic posts. That's also something you do as part of your scheduling process. You can host a contest or a competition or a giveaway or create an offer. So talking about content marketing and then the tools available to you. So we've gone through those now. So what does it look like? So I've looked at the list of people who were going to attend tonight. So I see there's foodies, there's in the services sector, HR and business consulting. I saw clothing as well. I saw health and beauty. And that's like from your company names that I could see what your companies are doing. So what I thought is, let's use these tools, but I want to use some practical examples of how we did it at Marketing Results for some of our clients. So looking at this was a services provider. They were an HR consultancy. So with COVID, we tapped into a trending topic and we tried to share valuable educational content because we were all so in the dark with lockdown level 5, and we wanted the digital platforms to become a resource for individuals or other companies to go to find information. So this is one of the examples we used. Here's another one where we searched industry experts, and these the content that we shared here was 10 free sites that you could use that would help your employees with remote working. Then here's another one. Is one of the tools is make people giggle, make an emotional content. So this was one of the posts that we did when we started going into lockdown level 4 and 3. When people were recruiting again, maybe you were interviewing. And this was another one as well, where we gave valuable content, but we made them giggle as well, because everyone were on screen. So we were like, oh, now you need to adjust how you use your eyes. So yeah, it made people giggle. It made it a little bit lighter because those were daunting times. And by doing all of this, we try to establish our client as an industry expert. Then another one of our clients, they do business consulting, but more for SMMEs. So they do a lot of what they do is they'll write your business plan for you or business strategy, but they found not a lot of people knew that. So with them, This is the kind of, this is how we promoted their service delivery. See, practical, tailored, hands-on to support your business. That's, again, making an emotional content. Like if you think about an SMME, they want hands-on support. They want something that's tailored to them. They want practical advice. Here's another good example, failure is just not an option. Then we've worked with clients in the fashion industry as well. So what this is around about October, November time, these were the kind of content we started posting for them because people are thinking about year-end events. So be the envy of the party, that little black dress. We did this as well. Vintage clothing is very popular. But you'll see here what we did is we advertised the fact that we had vintage clothing, but see the copy is we just said sold out. So why would you advertise something sold out? To create demand. Like our vintage clothing is so popular, it's sold out. Here again, we made an emotional connection or made them giggle, nothing haunts you like the things you didn't buy. So yeah, this did very well as well. More of fashion. Here is where we shared the graphic is we used the customers buying from the kids' boutique. So here's a little baby dressed in one of the outfits from the boutique. Here's another example of where we used the actual customers, their kids, in the clothes. Yeah, these did very well. Here's another one. This client sold teepees, and here you can see how we started using hashtags. So magical playtime with your kids. They also sold the milestone blankets. So we tapped into hashtags, hashtag moments. And here what we did is they also sold the bandana bibs. Now, in March and in September every year, most babies are born in South Africa. So then when we did the advertising, we tapped into trending topics. So most babies are born. So February, March, April time, or October, well, September, August, September, October, apologies. That's where we position the gifts as the ideal baby shower gift. So that's an example of how you tap into a trending topic for someone as small as this SMME that only sold teepees, milestone blankets, and bandana bibs. Then for the foodies out there, we worked with Wedgwood and we collaborated with other companies in the area. So we approached Jackie Cameron School of Food and Wine, and we asked her students to develop recipes for us with using nougat. So this was an example of s'mores. It did very well. Also another collaboration, but an example of hosting a competition or a giveaway. For Mother's Day, we collaborated with Soga Shoes, which is just up the road from the Wedgwood factory. And we had a nice giveaway for Women's Month. And then another example I said is celebrate holidays. So this was a post we did for celebrating World Chocolate Day, which is for a confectionery brand is a huge day in their calendar. Then we also worked for Avalanche. So one of the first tools I said is pose a question, source crowd feedback. So you can pose a question, ask fans to make a choice, solicit content. So here we ask them a question, complete the sentence. Another word for Avo is, and again, you can see how we used hashtags. Another one for them is we ran a competition, but we did product positioning. So we wanted to see what people buy with our avos. So what's in their shopping trolleys. So we ran a competition and we asked people to take photos for us of their shopping trolleys with the avos in. And this is just one of the examples that was uploaded. So we got an idea of what people are buying with our avos. And that then helped us to develop recipes. So here you'll see is one of the recipes that we developed was an avocado chocolate mousse. Again, it's a value add. Your clients can come to your platforms to get recipes. And then also one of the big things we did for them is position it as a health benefit. So instead of taking all these multivitamins, your like just a half avo or a teaspoon of avo could replace all of that and the health benefits that it would have for you. Another one we did, a client of ours was Lions River Craft Brewery. So I don't know if you know craft brewers. They're a funny looking bunch, all hop heads with these massive beards. They speak a different vocabulary and they dress funny. So for us, it was to keep it light, make an emotional contact with them. This is what we did for Valentine's Day. We promoted gift packs. So we played with lots of like romantic movies. And this is from Jerry Maguire, where she said, "You had me at hello." And we played on that. And we said, "You had me at craft beer." And that's how we sold the gift packs for Valentine's Day. The beer garden, they had a beer garden as well. It was only open Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So on a Friday, we'd always post something like this. Again, making an emotional contact, making them giggle, but spot on for the target audience. Is it just us, or does craft beer taste better on Fridays? Another thing we wanted to do with them was position them in the wedding industry. They're based in the KZN Midlands, and weddings in the Midlands are huge. So we couldn't really host weddings, but it's an industry we wanted to tap into. So this was part of the advertising or some of the campaigns we ran around the wedding industry for them to capitalize on. So making wedding favors, so something old, something new, something borrowed, something brewed. So we could brew a special beer for you for your craft beer. It could be served at your wedding, or it could be a wedding favor, and we could brand it for the wedding couple as well. This was just getting the boys involved, and you can see our craft beer there. This is a campaign we ran where we targeted retailers to sell the craft beer, actually. So you make my heart malt. There's a customer of ours. I was saying how these craft beer drinkers, the hop heads, look, and that's a classic example. And then and we would tag retailers in these posts, and it helped a lot. It generated a lot of leads for us. Retailers then contacting us saying, "Oh, okay, well, what's the lifespan of craft beer? We heard it goes fraught quickly." So we did a lot of education around that as well. And then here was another thing that they did at the brewery is they did brewery tours. So we wanted to encourage groups to book. It's a fun thing out to do with your mates. And you can see again, we brought a bit of humor into it, where we say, "We can't beer to be without you." And these were a bunch of guys that came and visited and did a brewery tour with us one weekend. Yeah. So now you've got content. Now you need to go over to more the functional bit of maintaining your digital media platforms. So something really important is you need to consider timing. when posting. You'll see on the back end of the majority of your platforms, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or Pinterest or Google, your Google My Business page, it gives you really valuable insights about when your followers are online and which days. Now, if you go back to your plan, say, for instance, you just want to start off with 1 post a week and see how that goes. And you can work your way up to 2 posts a week or 3 posts a week or 4 posts a week. You can use the data that's available from your platforms. Say, for instance, you see most of your followers, and this is interesting as well. Like I just showed you some examples of the craft beer. They were only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but most of their followers were online on a Tuesday. So we would post on a Tuesday. It's almost that's when the people started planning their weekends. So we'd make sure to post on a Tuesday during the times that they were online, just to get better results. So consider timing when posting, timing in days. Don't ignore comments, and never, ever delete negative comments. You need to convert those and take them offline. You infuriate people when you delete a comment and it just blows up in your face. I want to show you an example of where we did that for a client recently. So this lady complained. She said she placed an order and she tried phoning us, but apparently the number doesn't exist anymore. And she sent a Facebook message and she emailed us and she's received no response. So what we then did is obviously we went and looked. She placed her order and we did email her back. And all of this emailing us and sent us a Facebook message, that happened within 5 minutes. And then 15 minutes later, she did this post. So she didn't really give us that much time. And we spent that 15 minutes like trying to find all this information. So we very gently just said to her, for us, it was worrying that the number she contacted. So we asked her, what number did you contact? And then we responded to her email and her Facebook message. And then you'll see what happened is she said, thanks for the messages and the follow-up calls. And that's important because that way, not deleting this negative comment, but by taking it offline and responding to it, our other customers can see we take these things really seriously. And it shows that customer support is very important to us, to a brand, and it shows that we're on top of it. And we don't want our customers to complain. So yeah, or respond to everything. You can see how we responded here. We put a sad face because we don't like it when people complain. We responded and then we got a positive kickback from it. Or it would have happened offline, whether on the telephone or on email or in your Facebook or your Instagram messaging or on your Google messaging. Then ask for reviews or to be recommended. That's super, super important on your platforms. I want to show you an example of a conversion as well, where this was on a post and the lady said, very true, I'm a regular customer. Now, not everyone's going to read through this. They might click right on top of your page to read your reviews. So, we said, thank you so much. And we really appreciate the kind words. Do you mind doing a review for us on our Facebook page? And see, they are not everyone, but, you need to convert it. And she's like, no problem. Thank you. Then use hashtags. I showed you in the examples of how to use the tools, how we use hashtags as well. And that's becoming more and more important. People are starting, because a hashtag is a collective for information, especially if you're in services. So yeah, people are searching more and more using hashtags. So incorporate those very naturally into your copy. Don't dump them at the end. Don't use thousands. It is industry best practice. They say use up to 3 hashtags per post and use them very naturally within the text. Don't dump them at the end. Although that seems like a trend on Instagram, but it's not industry best practice. Then reshare content. So if you look at the life expectancy of a post on digital media, it's between 3 to 5 days. So say, for instance, something went live today. It's up to you to depend the life expectancy of this post. So what we usually recommend is look at interest groups. So say, for instance, if you take Facebook for an example, find interest groups for your organization, and then depending on what your company does, you could have from 20 maybe through to 100 interest groups. Take the best of those. I wouldn't recommend sharing into more than 5 groups a day. So say, for instance, of the 100 interest groups, you've broken it down, or you've worked it back into 20 that are really relevant to your company and effective. You can see there's a lot of activity in the group. And then over the next 4 days, take it day 1, share into 5 groups. Day 2, share into another 5 groups. Day 3, into another 5. Day 4, into another 5. And then what you can do, depending on, again, the volume of communication you put out on your digital platforms, you can then at the end of the week, say, for instance, you do 2 posts a week or 3 or 4. At the end of the week, you're like, okay, so of these 4, this one did the best. That's where I really, really hit the nail on the head. It resonated with my target audience. Then that is where I'll boost a post or build an ad campaign around it, because you've used your platforms and the information available to guide you on where to spend your advertising budget. And you can do that yearly as well. For example, say, for instance, celebrating a holiday. So our one client sells nappies. In September each year, it's International Grandparents' Day. So we make a big hoo-ha about it. And then we'll look at, over the past 5 years, the company's existed. When we celebrated International Grandparents' Day, which posts did the best? And that's content we'll reshare because we know it's really resonated with our target audience. So here are those examples. Then the last one I want to speak about is employee advocacy. So at its core, employee advocacy is the promotion of an organization by its staff. And this is your secret weapon. Just to give you some stats, they're on the right-hand side of the slide. So according to Cisco, your employees have 10 times more followers than your company and 8 times more the engagement. People are 16 times more likely to read a post from a friend about a brand than from the actual brand itself. Then brand messages get reshared 24 times more frequently when shared by employees than shared by the brand itself. And leads from employee advocacy are 7 times more likely to close than that from other leads. And then the last one, customers referred by an employee advocate has a 37% higher retention rate. Now that's what you want. So make it easy for them. People could be scared and say, oh, I don't want to get fired for something I've said. So make it easy. Say to them, we've generated this amazing content. All we want you to do is like it, share it, or if you have a friend that you find it's relevant to, tag them. That's how easy it is. We're not asking you to generate content. We're generating content that is approved by our company and doesn't break any rules and won't get anyone fired. So just like, tag, and share. That's all you want them to do. So, I mean, your employees have the potential to amplify your company vision, mission, and messages. So why don't you allow them to become a living, breathing testimonial of your brand? Yeah, and that for me is really, really important. And if you can capitalize on that, yes, you can cut your ad budget by 1/3 easily, because you've got your employees doing it for you already. And they're also incredibly knowledgeable about your company and passionate about your company, because job security, people are worried about it these days. And people take more pride in what they do, like securing it. So yeah, employee advocacy, definitely capitalize on that. So that is me for now. Thank you. So should we open it up for questions?
Thank you, Alta. Anybody have a question that they would like to ask? Ask while the expertise is in the room. Yes, Shashika. You can unmute
Hi.
yourself and go ahead.
Good evening, Alta. Just a quick question. I used to do extremely well on Google until I had somebody that was coming over to pay me a visit and says, "Oh, I can't find you on the Google Maps." And then I tried, I said, "Okay, don't stress, let me just drop you a pin." And when I went to the pin, I couldn't even find that. And when I went into my Google account, it was said that Google had taken it off because I apparently did not comply or something to that effect. But I've had that Google account for, wow, years. And when you searched, my company normally came up #1.
Okay. That goes back to monitoring. So if you violated one of their policies, they would have sent you an email. Did you receive that email? Because that's something you need to be on top of and respond to fairly immediately, because they usually give you a 24-hour to 48-hour grace period. And they will send that email to the email listed on your business profile. So they assume that that is an email address that is active and relevant to your business organization. So that's why there's a grace period of between 24 to 48 hours to respond. Did you receive this email? Do you have the correct contact details on your Google My Business profile? Or do you maybe have a private email address on there and it's not your business address, so maybe you missed it?
Haven't received any. No, haven't received an email from Google.
What contact details is on your Google My Business profile? Is it your actual business contact details or private?
Yes. No, it's my actual business details, yes.
And you've checked spam as well?
I normally do check spams because sometimes I do get very important emails going into spam. So I'm pretty much very regular in checking my spam folder.
Okay, well, now what you'll need to do is you'll need to start an appeals process. So you'll
What it did allow me to actually reload it, but whenever I want to, what happened is that the actual location, there was a problem with the map. So it says, well, I was off by 5 kilometers, and whenever I needed to adjust it, it just never updated on the actual locator. And I tried it like about 4 or 5 times to do the pin drop, and it always went off like, you know, about 5 kilometers out of the pin, and it just never updated because it was too far apart.
But then follow their process. So you'll see usually at that screen at the top, there's 3 little dots. If you click
Yes.
on that, it will give you various options. Like for example, like my one client, we tried to update the business description. It's the health and beauty spa, and they just kept on rejecting it. So I had to appeal.
Yes,
And
the
then it will,
exact same problem. Yes.
first, it gives you all these thousands of articles that you need to read because they don't want to speak to us. And then at the end of that, you've got to say, did you find this useful? No. And then it will, if you continue doing that, then it eventually gives you an option to lodge an appeal. And then you get a case number, and then you can appeal it. And you can complain if they don't get back to you within the 24 to 48 hours, and you've got your case number, and then someone will contact you. But they usually use Google Chats for it. They want to see that so it's an app you need to download, Google Chats. Then someone from Google will contact you. You go live, and they want to see that you're at the premises. And then they'll update your location for you. It's not a quick process, but you've got to start it, especially if you're 5Ks out and people are going to the wrong business premises.
Thank you.
I wish I had better news that you can just click this button and it will happen immediately, but sorry.
Thank you, Alta. Is anybody else got a question? There's lots of thank yous in the chat, Alta, for your expertise and your tips.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Okay, if nobody's taking advantage of Alta's expertise, even though she won't call herself an expert, I will. If nobody's taking advantage of that, then we can say good night for tonight. Last chance. Okay, Alta's details are there. Take them down, get in contact with her. Thank you, fabulous woman in business, for another good evening. And we look forward to seeing you next week for week 4. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.
You.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Alta.
Bye.
Bye.